Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Keith Barnes. I'm here, Pocket Flicks Movies, our YouTube channel, and this is our movie watching challenge that we do every week on our show. I hadn't been challenged in a while, and I got challenged by my boy, buddy, Jake Berlin. Challenged me to watch a movie that he knows. It's probably surprised that I haven't seen. He knows that I was looking forward to, and that is Edgar Wright's The World's End. This movie is the third and final film of his Three Flavors Cornetto trilogy, which started with 2004's Shaun of the Dead, 2007's Hot Fuzz. This one, World's End, came out 2013. Um, Hot Fuzz was probably my favorite. I have vague memories of seeing Shaun of the Dead. I know I had it on a few years back at a friend's house, or we had friends over and we had it on, and I had sound down. And I wasn't really. I need to watch that one again, but I've seen bits and pieces of it. I haven't. I got to sit down and watch it start to finish. I love Hot Fuzz though. Hot Fuzz. I actually just watched that one a little over 2 years ago, and it is one of my favorite comedies of all time. I absolutely love Hot Fuzz. But I'll tell you what, The World's End is probably very, very, very close right there. Like Hot Fuzz is right here. World's End is probably right here. I absolutely love this movie. Edgar Wright is one of my all-time favorites. He did right before Hot Fuzz. I'm sorry, he did Hot Fuzz. Did that movie right there, which I'll talk about a little bit too. And then he did World's End, and then Baby Driver. So he's definitely shown between each of those movies, he's really good at action. And this movie has a lot more action than I was expecting. Um, it's co-written with Simon Pegg. They co-wrote him and Edgar Wright co-wrote all three of the movies in the trilogy. They star a lot of the same actors that appear in each one, obviously as different characters. Simon Pegg, Nick Frost. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name. He's the Hobbit. Anyway, him. He's in it. He's in all three of them. I'm totally blanking. Martin Freeman. Goodness gracious, I apologize for that. Martin Freeman is in all three of these movies as well, and a few other actors. Bill Nighy actually appears in Shaun of the Dead and in Hot Fuzz, and then he is a voice in World's End. He voices the network, which I'll talk about in just a second. But yeah, World's End is great. Simon Pegg plays a character that is he's a bit of a slacker. Sean is kind of a slacker, obviously in Shaun of the Dead, but he's still somewhat responsible. Between him and Nick Frost, like he's still a little more responsible than this one. In World's End, he's a complete slacker. He's complete opposite of the character he plays in Hot Fuzz. The guy's a real stickler for the rules, and doing everything the right way. And this guy that he plays, Gary King, I think was his name. Just you find out why. I'm watching the movie, and he's trying to rearrange. It's basically about him, his group of friends, him and his four friends, Nick Frost, and a couple of others, Martin Freeman, and a couple of others. They're trying to relive or redo this pub crawl, or he wants them to redo this pub crawl they did 20 years ago when they were either in high school or right at the end of high school. It is famous pub crawl that they called the Golden Mile, and they ended it at a pub called the World's End. And just a mild spoiler alert: each name of the pubs is actually foreshadows something that is about to happen in the film. So, movie's called The World's End. So, take that for what it's worth. But yeah, they did this thing called the Golden Mile. They end it. They have a pub or two, I think, at each one. So there's 12 of them in total. Called the Golden Mile. They ended at the World's End. They didn't finish it. The whole point was to finish the Golden Mile and then sit down on a hill somewhere and watch the sunrise. They never got to do it. They all went off. They grew up, went on and had successful or somewhat successful lives, whether professionally or personally, or at least we think that. Where Simon Pegg's character is just kind of a like I said, a slacker, kind of a loser. Didn't really do anything with himself. Didn't make anything of himself. Definitely is an alcoholic and has a real problem with that. But so his whole thing is to get the guys back together and do the Golden Mile. one more time. Like we got to do this. I got the sense of there's a reason for that. Kind of remind me of the movie Tag, where if you anybody ever saw that, Ed Helms' character is trying to get everybody to get this game of tag. He's really into uh, uh, trying to finish the game of tag and get Jeremy Renner's character one last time. And you realize there's a reason for that. And there's a similar thing happening in this movie too, where Simon Pegg, the reason he's so insistent on getting the guys together to do this Golden Mile, and I'm not going to spoil that, but you realize he's definitely had some real problems in his personal life, obviously, and he just wants to do this thing one last time, trying to relive this moment. He's one of those guys that just got stuck in his youth, kind of stuck trying to relive the past. Never really matured a whole lot beyond his late teens or early 20s, and so there's a lot of that. A lot of the themes of immaturity and trying to hold on to the past runs throughout this movie, pretty heavy. And so there's a lot of lessons to be learned there, but there's a lot of laughs. It's obviously it's just a hilarious movie. Like I said, the action is incredible. There's incredible fight scenes because once they go try to do this, he tricks everybody into doing this pub crawl, and they go back to their old town, and something's not quite right. Okay, it seems like they see a lot of people that they knew back in the day that don't seem to recognize them. No one seems to really react that they're there because they've been gone for 20 years. So what's going on? And they realize they've come back to their town in the middle of an alien invasion, and all the people, almost everyone in the town, has been replaced with robot clones of themselves. So, and it's just about done by the time they get there. Like almost just nearly everybody's been taken over. Rosamund Pike is in this movie. She plays Martin Freeman's sister. She's really good, and she's someone who she was a former flame of let's just say of Simon Pegg's character, and so he's trying to reestablish that to somewhat hilarious results. But yeah, Pierce Brosnan is in this movie. Pierce Brosnan plays a very funny part in this movie, a small but very funny part. Similar to, he's not the only James Bond to be in this movie. Timothy Dalton is in Hot Fuzz, and so his kind of a similar role for Pierce Brosnan in this one as well. But so that's really funny. But yeah, and then Bill Nighy, like I said, who voices the leader of the alien race that's trying to take over. And what mild, like I said, mild spoiler. The movie's called The World's End, which does predict what happens in this movie. I mean, without spoiling what happens, but the world is destroyed. So it's kind of a sort of a sad ending, but a sort of bittersweet as well. But it's really good. Like I said, the action's really great. The fight scenes. This comes after this movie right here, Scott Pilgrim. So I think he, and then like I said, Hot Fuzz right before that. He did a good job directing fight choreography. There's a lot of it in this movie, in Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Definitely, he brought a lot of that, I think, into The World's End, because there's a lot of hand-to-hand combat in this movie of fighting aliens and smashing them open. And they're kind of like these hollow shells with blue goo inside of them. It's really weird how they work, but the visual effects are pretty good. You can tell it's definitely a higher budget. I don't know if it's as much of a budget as Scott Pilgrim, but it might be close. But there's definitely a lot of good visual effects in this movie. Edgar Wright, like I say, he's really great with storytelling. The Cornetto reference is in this movie. It's actually right at the end. So if you're looking for that, definitely does tie into the other two films. And yeah, absolutely loved it. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend The World's End. I highly recommend all three of these movies, because I'm telling you that I didn't get how Rotten Tomato scores are up like 80, up in the high 80s and low 90s. I mean, they're all very highly regarded movies. I love all three of them. I absolutely love them all. I want to sit down, like I said, and watch Shaun of the Dead and catch up on that, because I haven't seen it in a while. But The World's End is great. You can watch any of these movies in any order. They're really kind of loosely, they're connected really loosely. Like I said, just a lot of the same actors appear in all three. A lot of the themes, some of the themes are the same, but obviously you're getting Cornetto ice cream, characters eating Cornetto ice cream in all three. So that's really the connection for the most part. But yeah, highly enjoy it. Edgar Wright might be my favorite director right now. He's right there with Denis Villeneuve. That's one of the best. Can't wait for Last Night in Soho, which is coming up soon, next couple of weeks. So thank you, Jake. I love you. Thank you so much for challenging me to this movie. I really enjoyed it. Stick around for the next challenge. I think I challenged Gio to Cape Fear. So hopefully we'll talk. He'll be talking about that on the next episode of Apocalypse Now, which airs on Tuesday, and every Tuesday at 7:00 Pacific Standard Time. We got a whole bunch of other cool videos and stuff going on the channel. We're doing recapping Marvel's What If and Marvel Rewind, so you can check that out. A bunch of other cool stuff coming up. So anyway, thanks again. This was my movie watching challenge episode. Talk to you guys next time. Thanks a lot.